Welcome to my channel, guys. Hope you are doing amazing. So I've started this channel for making you understand English in a way that you feel relatable, and I'll give you ample of real life examples so that English becomes your second nature. It becomes so easy, and you will fall in love with it. So let's get started with with our next chapter. The chapter that I have picked for this video is chapter 1 of class 10th NCERT. So let's get started. So chapter 1 is a letter to God. So have you ever wondered, like, have you ever written something to God, like what you deeply wish for, or what you wanted to acquire or get? So is there something in you that wants and desires deeply, and you wanted to convey it to God? So maybe you have written, but let me tell you a secret. I have written it, and it has also come true. So that's for another talk. But today I'll be covering this chapter to you, a letter to God. So moving on, let's skip to the chapter, the starting of the chapter. Okay, so here I'm going to explain line by line what is written here. Okay, the chapter starts with the house. Okay, so the house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. So here we are talking about a house that is alone, that is a solitary house, and it is, where is it, in the entire valley. That is the only one house in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. So it is there, it is present in the crest, means on the top of the low hill. So there is a hill, um, and on the top of the hill there is a house. From this height one could see the river and the field of ripe corn. So from this height of the house, one could see the river and the ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. So there was a farm of corns with flowers that always had uh, some good harvest. Okay, the only thing the earth needed was a downpour, or at least a shower. So the shower, the downpour, the rain. The only thing that the earth needed for having a good harvest was rain. Throughout the morning, lencho. So throughout the morning lencho. So now who is the main character of our chapter? Lencho. Lencho is all. The main character is also called. Can you guess? Protagonist. Yes. So protagonist is also called the main character of the chapter or story. Um, so throughout the morning, Lamcho, who knew his fields intimately. What is the meaning of intimately? Closely. He knew the fields very closely to him. He knew everything about his fields. Where are the things, and how the crops grew and what it needs. So he knew everything about it. Had done so throughout the morning. Lencho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Now he is doing nothing but seeing the sky through towards the northeast. What is there in the northeast? Let's find out. Now we are really going to get some water woman. So he's referring to a woman here, maybe his wife, and he's affirming, or he's saying that we are going to get some water. So he's hopeful, he seems hopeful. Now we can guess, I think, that he's a farmer and he is expecting to rain. uh, maybe it is the case, or maybe it is not. Let's find out. The woman who was preparing supper replied, "Yes, God willing." So the woman who was preparing the dinner replied very softly, very calmly, like a womanly reply, God willing. So she said, if God's will, uh, they will um, it will rain. Okay, it will downpour as he was expecting. The older boys were working in the field, while smaller ones were playing near the house. Until the woman called to them all, come for dinner. So the woman called his the boys for dinner, and the smaller were playing in the house, and the bigger ones, the elder ones, were the older ones who were working in the field. Okay, it was during the meal that, just as Lencho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. Now now Lencho would be very happy, because as he predicted, it happened. Just as he predicted, it happened. In the northeast, huge amounts of clouds could be seen approaching. Now he was on the cloud nine. That means he's elated, he's extremely happy. The air was fresh and sweet. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. Now he went out to feel the pleasure of rain on his body. How cool it is, how soothing it is, isn't it? And when he returned, when he returned to the house, exclaimed to his family. What did he exclaim? These aren't raindrops falling from the sky. They are new coins. The big drops are 10 cents pieces and the little ones are fives. So what it means, this shows that um what it means to him, the rain, what it means to him. It means money to him. It means survival for him, right? So when he told his family that this is not rain, this is actually some actually 10 cent pieces and little ones are five. So big drops are 10 cent means it's a it's a, US way of saying dollar or cents, right? You must have heard. Okay, so these are money falling from the sky, he exclaimed. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a curtain of rain. So he was way too satisfied. He was very satisfied. But suddenly, what happened suddenly? A strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. What are hailstones? That are made with water and ice. Some the water, when gets freezes, it becomes hailstones. So very large hailstones began to fall. Now what will happen? Let's see. These truly did resemble new silver coins. Now the author is making a sarcastic remark here, or maybe he's let's say if he's serious about it, will get to know about that. The boys, exposing them to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. So the frozen pearls, what are the frozen pearls here? Is other hailstones. Okay, so the boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. So the boys were also very happy and elated, and um, extremely joyful that the rain has been so heavy. And but the um, our Lencho, let's see what he's happy so far, but now let's see what happens to him. It's really getting bad now, he exclaimed the man. I hope it passes quickly. It did not pass quickly. For an hour the hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, and on the whole valley. The field was white as if covered with salt. Now what happened? The 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 rain, as it was expected, did not happen. The rain happened in like a very heavily, and it was a hailstorm, to be precise. And the field was white as if covered with salt. So as if it was covered with salt, it was so much white. The snow has covered the field. Now with the snow, There, all the crops was destroyed. Not a leaf remained on the tree. The corn was totally destroyed. Now, corn has to have a, a kind of weather that it is not getting, so it got destroyed. Okay, the flowers were gone from the plants. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. When the storm has passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons, "A plague of locusts would have left more than this. The hail left us nothing." So, a plague means disease, kind of disease, like um, locusts means insects which fly in big groups and destroy crops. There are kinds of insects that destroy crops and fly in large groups. Okay, so plague of locusts. Plague means a disease, and here it means a lot of the disaster that a locust would have done. This is more than this. The hailstorm has done more than have destroyed more than the locust would have done. Okay, so the hail has left nothing. This year will have no corn. That night was a sorrowful one. Our all our work for nothing. There is no one who can help us. We'll all go hungry this year. So now he is sorrowful. He's sad. He's extremely upset, and he's not in his good mood. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house. Now, in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house, in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope: help from God. So there is only one hope left now. That is the help from God. Now, now people who have uh, there are times that we have that we come through these kinds of situations, so we also think that there's only um, the last option, the last hope is God. So that's how the ranger is thinking also. uh, don't be so upset even though this seems like a total loss. Remember, no one dies of hunger. That's what they say. No one dies of hunger. All through the night, Rancho thought only of his one hope, the help of God, whose eyes, as he has been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience. So what happened? So he's a firm believer in God. Lencho, he's a firm believer in God, and he thinks that his eyes um, uh, sees everything, even with what is deep in one's deep conscience. Okay, what conscience means? The innermost part of ourselves that discriminates between right and wrong, that thinks. The deepest most part of the human being is conscious. That is um, that is described in this word is mostly used in religions. Okay. um, okay. Lencho was an ox of a man, working like an animal in the fields, but still he knew how to write. Now they're saying Lencho was an ox of a man. That means he worked day and night. He worked like an animal in the fields, but still he knew how to write. Somehow he also knew how to write. The following Sunday, at the daybreak, he began to write a letter, which he himself would carry to town and place in the mail. Now, what did he do? He In the morning itself, he began to write a letter, which he himself would carry to the town and place in the mail. It was nothing less than a letter to God. Now, what did he resort to do? He still got to write a letter to God, and as simple as he was, he what did he do next? Let's see. God, he wrote. God, he wrote. If you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes, because the hailstorm, and so on and on and on. He wrote all this, whatever is in the exclamation marks he sorry the codes it he wrote that he has written that in the letter. He wrote to God on the envelope. Now, what a simple man he was. He just wrote to God to God on the envelope, like on the sender's address, on the receiver address. Sorry, in the receiver address he wrote to God. So I'm sending this letter to God, but put the letter inside, and still trouble went to town. At the post office, he placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. One of the employees, who was a postman and also helped at the post office, went to his boss laughing heartily and showed him the letter to God. He was laughing heartily. He was laughing very, very fully. So um, and showed him the letter to God. Now in the post office where Lencho has delivered the where he has he wanted to send the letter, because he knew he has known, he only knew that the everybody goes to the post office to send somebody a letter, so he knew that. So he knew only that, and with his simplicity and innocent mind, what he did he do, he went to the post office and just um, sent his letter. Okay, now what happens in the post office? Post office, one of his employees who was a postman and also at the post office went to the boss laughing. So he went to the boss, um, showing that this letter is marked as letter to God. Somebody has wanted to send a letter to God, and somebody was who? Lencho. Never in this career as a postman had he known that address. So never in his career as a postman he had he known that address. So the postman, when the postman found that the letter has been has to be delivered to God. Now, how can anybody deliver any letter to God? Okay, that's what he was questioning. The postman, the postmaster, sorry, the postmaster, a fat, amiable fellow. Amiable means friendly and pleasant. Fellow means person. Pleasant, friendly and pleasant. Pleasant means um, lovely, beautiful. So a good, good fellow also broke out laughing. And almost immediately he turned serious and tapping the letter on his desk, commented, "What faith! I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter." Starting up a correspondence with God. So correspondence means communications. So a communication with God. So so he was he was surprised by the postmaster was surprised by the belief and the faith that Lencho had for God. So he started to communicate with communicate with God. So in order not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came up with an idea. Now the postmaster was a good man. He did not wanted to shake the faith, writer's faith means Lencho's faith in God. So what did he do? He answered the letter. So he came up with an idea that says answer the letter. But when he opened it, it was evident that to answer it, he needed something more than goodwill, ink, and paper. So he did not only need goodwill. Goodwill means something, um, a, a, a good wish for others, good wish. So you can remember like that, a good wish for others, goodwill for others. That means we are intending or we are wishing good for others, a goodwill. Ink and paper, this is not enough for him right now. What else he needs? But he stuck to his resolution. Resolution means if I'm resolute to something, I'm determined to do that. I'm determined to do something. I'm determined to pass this exam. So like I have this resolution, like we say New Year resolution, right? He asked for money from his employees. He himself gave part of his salary, and several friends of his were obliged to give something for an act of charity. Now, what did he do? He was a good man. and he did not want to shake writer's Lencho's faith. So what did he do? He gave his part of salary and as his money from the employees and some friends from his friends. He also encouraged them to give some money to Lencho for just as an act of charity. It was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos, so he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half. So the postmaster could not collect all. It was impossible for him to have all the money that the farmer needed. But whatever he had, and whatever he managed to collect, we saw here, right? Whatever he managed to collect and gathered, um, it was so he sent the farmer only more than half. So 100 peso was demanded, and more than half would be something like above 50. He put the money in an envelope addressed to Lencho, and with it a letter containing only a single word as a signature God. So what did he do? He put the money and said God, and written God there as a signature that God is sending this money. So the following Sunday, Lenchup came a bit earlier than usual to ask if there was a letter for him. Lenchup was excited, and on Sunday he came a bit early, a little bit early, before 9. So he was the postmaster himself who handed it was the postmaster himself who handed the letter to him, while the postmaster, experiencing the contentment of a man who has performed a good deed, looked on. Sorry, it was the postman himself who had handed the letter to him, while the postmaster, experiencing the contentment of a man who performed a good deed, looked on from his office. Contentment means satisfaction. So he had the satisfaction. The postmaster felt satisfied that did a good job there. He helped the man. Okay. Lencho, uh, a hungry man indeed. Lencho showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money. Such was his confidence. So what did Lencho do? He did not show even a slight surprise on seeing the money. Why? Because his faith was very strong, very firm, and he just knew that God exists, and he knew that God will take care of his own, like his own child. But he became angry when he counted the money. God could not have made a mistake, nor could he have denied Lencho what he had requested. Now, what did Lencho think about? That God cannot make a mistake, nor he could have denied Lencho what he had requested. So such was blind faith. What happened now? Immediately, Lencho went up to the window to ask for a paper and ink. What happened to Lencho? On the public writing table, he started to write with much wrinkling on his brow. Now his brow was wrinkling. He was tense. Okay, he was tensed, caused by the effort he had to make to express his ideas. When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp. He licked and then affixed to the envelope with a blow of his fist. Now he wrote something on the letter again to God, obviously. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it. It said, God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest since I need it very much. But don't send it to me through the mail because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks, Lencho. So, what he's saying now? He's saying in the letter that I asked for 70. I asked for 100, but only 70 pesos reached me. Right? 70 reached me. Now he's um, what is he doing? He's doubting that the employees of this post office has taken the money from his letter. But in reality, what happened? We know. So that's the end of this chapter. So, what do you think about Lencho and his story? Sweet story it is, and it shows how simple and innocent men are also, humans are, and also it shows that um, um, so good-hearted people are also there in our society, who like the postmaster who did not want to shake the faith of Lencho, and though he didn't know him as personally, but he did wanted to. Maybe he was inspired by Lencho, maybe he was kind to Lencho. I don't know, but the writer knows better than me what he wanted to convey in this chapter, in this story. So that was the end of the story. Hope you liked it, and tell me in the comment section that what would you do if you were in the in Lencho's place, and how would you tackle the situation as a farmer who has just seen a devastating uh, hailstorm. Okay, thank you so much.